Dopamine is the one molecule to rule them all. It's the one true thing that has control far beyond what you've ever imagined. See, the brain has two distinct ways of thinking, which are wildly different from each other. Two vastly different ways of thinking about the world. On one side, a handful of chemicals let you experience pleasure and satisfaction in whatever you have in the here and now. But on the other side, your brain relies on a chemical that not only allows you to move beyond the realm of what's immediately in front of you, but also motivates you to mold your desires for the future. It drives you to seek things far away, both physical and the things you cannot see. Maybe it's knowledge, love, or power. Whether you're reaching for the bottle of ketchup on the table or climbing a mountain, this chemical helps us to command. Let's call the left side thinking the here and now. They allow you to experience what's in front of you, to savor the moment, or even to react quickly to something. Maybe you find yourself in an altercation that you need to run away fast from. And then there's the right side of your thinking. It's different. Its focus is on getting you on what you don't have. And it rewards you when you obey. And when you don't, it makes you suffer. You know, you've been there when you're trying not to eat that chocolate bar and it's right in front of you. It takes some mental stamina to resist. When you look at your surroundings, maybe you're at your desk and there's a cup of coffee or your laptop or a sweet treat. All things that you can touch. You don't have to put much effort into controlling something. Now think about something you want to do in the future. This is more likely to need a plan. You're going to have to think about what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to calculate. And with dopamine, there's even a commitment to memory. Let's take important names for example. Maybe you're at a social event and the name of the person gives you a firm handshake. Or you thought they were well put together. You're probably more likely to remember that name than the person who ignored you. Why? Because the future you may benefit from that interaction in one shape or form. Maybe that's why even when we're already successful in our own right, whether it's an athlete or actor or entrepreneur, we continue working long after we've obtained all the money, fame and security we need. And with the addictive nature of dopamine, it can also be our downfall. It can make a satisfied person risk it all just for the thrill of something else. It's the itch that drives scientists to find new solutions, to bring order to reason and meaning. And it's why we're never happy for too long. To your brain, this is the ultimate molecule that narrates the story of your behavior. Imagine yourself walking down a familiar road and you see a new bakery. You see the cakes, you see all the vibrant colors. You want to go in. And to top it all off, the smell is intoxicating. All those freshly baked pastries. You order a coffee and a croissant and it tastes good and it's probably the best you've ever had. And from now on you start thinking, I'm gonna start going here every day. Well, why am I talking about this? Well, this is a perfect illustration of how our brains are primed to react to the unexpected, to the possibility of anticipation. It's not eating the pastries in itself that gives the pleasure, it's the thrill of the unexpected. It's the unexpected message from the lover you've been waiting on. Even the mere thought of something unexpected can bring you joy, and the anticipation enough is to trigger dopamine. But here is where it becomes a problem. When people experience things on a regular basis, they become regular events. The novelty fades, and what was once amazing becomes a depleting source of pleasure. So let's take getting into a relationship for the first time, for example. Everything is fantastic at first. It's new, it's exciting. The phase is so intense, there's a name for it. It's called the honeymoon phase, but it's short-lived. And as you know, I'm into fitness and I work out quite a bit. And a while ago, I got myself into the best shape of my life. But I had reached a point where I was almost sad. And on the flip side, I had built this image of everyone somehow noticing me, that I was shredded, and the thought of who I was going to be, and somehow people would treat me differently. And every time I thought about this, when I think about it, it was a constant source of motivation and most importantly, dopamine. It was the thing that was keeping me going. And because I had reached my goal, my expectation had now become my reality. And from dopamine's point of view, actually having the things that you want is uninteresting. It's only the process of getting it that matters. There's no moral compass for dopamine. It wants what it wants, and there's no finish line. It's the classic case of shiny object syndrome. It is the magpie that is endlessly seeking shiny things. That's why when we get what we want, it can be an anticlimax, a dull ending to an explosive start or journey. Dopamine has a tendency to paint a picture in our minds of a rosy future in order to spur us on. The hard work is necessary to make it a reality. Dopamine has a very specific job of maximizing resources that will be valuable table for you in the future. We have a way of dealing with what we want and what we already have. Wanting a house, for example, this motivates us to work hard in order for us to buy it. And regarding romance, there comes a point where a choice must be made in order to transition from a source of love that is much more sustainable. Much like changing energy suppliers, the addictive nature of infatuation is not sustainable, and one must switch to a renewable source of energy, a love that endures through time. Maybe it's sourced from the day-to-day appreciation from one another, in the present. This type of love shifts from anticipation to experiences, building an archive of memories that both partners can look back on and smile. And if we are constantly thinking about the future, how can we better ourselves in the present? It's the ability to hold out now for a better reward later. And if you look around you, you see this playing out everywhere. If you delay gratification from buying desserts and treats at the store, you'll eat healthy when you get home. If you delay the gratification from finishing your workout early, you'll put a few more reps in and you'll be stronger. Success usually comes down to choosing the pain of discipline over the ease of distraction. And that's exactly what delayed gratification is all about. Delaying gratification can be difficult when we lack practice. Like any skill, it takes practice to become better at it. But one effective way to practice delayed gratification is by setting goals that are challenging and that require time to achieve it. By doing so, we can gradually build our ability to delay the immediate rewards for greater long-term gains. I used to procrastinate a lot till I got to a point where I could no longer bear the position that I was in. Now, whenever I'm in front of temptation or find myself second guessing things, I remind myself of the cost and quickly reflect on how I would feel. And I mentally think about the losses associated with choosing that immediate gratification. When you practice patience, it's important to grant yourself a big enough reward, bigger than one that you'd get from instant gratification. To maintain any type of resilience, you have to feel like it's paying off. And I unknowingly did this when I was in shape. During the week, I would be super strict with myself, and on a Sunday, I would eat wherever I wanted. And the funny thing is that I would fantasize about eating a burger and chips and having ketchup and then going through a packet of Haribos after. I literally remember walking past fast food places, and that would trigger a cascade of thoughts, only for that moment to arrive and I would take a few bites out of my meal to realize that I would get full, and I would get full quite quickly, and it wasn't as enjoyable as I had imagined. The transition into delayed gratification can be difficult, especially in a world where it presents easy outs to difficult tasks. In many ways we tend to take it, but we do have the tools to endure past the rush, the thrill, and the excitement. Dopamine may be trying to protect our future, and while these immediate signals call our attention, you need to find harmony. In other words, you need to overcome the seduction of now. If we give in to these endless dopamine rushes, it's a hunger that cannot be satiated. We are always going to want more, and its path is not always the best possible future. In today's modern world, we all have a sensory reality, what you taste, smell, and feel. And that needs to work together with your abstract thoughts about what you really want. A balanced way of being is where happiness meets satisfaction.